In this movie, I'll show you how to work with the Live Paint Selection tool, which allows you to select intersecting areas or the strokes around those areas and change their colors and other attributes either from the control panel at the top of the screen or the swatches panel. Now, I want you to notice what's happened. We sort of have an unfortunate effect thanks to the fact that I applied yellow strokes on the inside of this object and black strokes around the outside. Because the cyan circle is really at the top of the stack, as we can see here inside the Layers panel with the Live Paint object world open, I end up seeing the intersection of the black portion of the stroke and then the yellow stroke, both at the top of the artwork and down here closer to the bottom. The magenta circle is in back of the cyan one, so its intersecting area at the top is covered up, but its intersection at the bottom is not, and then the orange circle is at the back of the stack, so both of its intersections are covered. However, if I were to grab that orange circle here inside the Layers panel and drag it to the top of the stack, then we would see both of its intersections like so, which argues in favor of not going with these garish yellow strokes and coming up with thinner black strokes as in the final version of the artwork. And I'm going to make this happen not using the paint bucket tool because that would require too much clicking. I'd have to click on all 9 of these yellow substrokes. So instead, I'll go ahead and switch to the Live Paint Selection tool, which is available at the bottom of the same flyout menu. It has a keyboard shortcut of Shift-L. Now, if you hover over the interior of an intersecting area, then you'll see that familiar red outline. And it remains red even though we changed it to green for the paint bucket tool because the two tools allow you to assign different settings. Then if you go ahead and click on that intersecting area, Illustrator shows it is selected with this dot pattern. If you don't want to see the dot pattern, you can just press Control-H or Command-H on the Mac. Pressing Control-H or Command-H again brings it back. And then you can go ahead and change the color to anything you like up here in the swatches panel, because when you have a filled area selected using the Live Paint Selection tool, the fill is automatically active. So I'll go ahead and switch it to orange, for example. And then if I press Control-Shift-A or Command-Shift-A on the Mac to deselect that area, you can see that it now appears orange. Obviously, that's not what I want, so I'll go ahead and press Control-Z or Command-Z on the Mac to undo that change. Notice that you can hover over a stroke and click on it to select it. So the Live Paint Selection tool is set up to select strokes by default. However, I do want to make a couple of changes to the behavior of this tool. So I'll go ahead and double click on its icon here inside the toolbox. Notice that both Select Fills and Select Strokes are checked. I'm going to change the highlight color, however, to that bright green, and I'm going to change the width value once again to 2 points, and then I'll click OK. And we'll end up seeing these thin green lines when I hover over the strokes. All right, now I want to select all of these yellow strokes, and I could shift-click on them in order to add them to my selection. Or better still, I could take advantage of that Select Similar feature. Now, the icon is missing from the control panel when you're working with any of the Live Paint tools. I'm not sure why that is, and it doesn't do any good to go over to the control panel flyout menu on the far right side of the screen and choose the Select Same command because it's already turned on. So nothing you can do to bring that icon up when using these specific tools. However, you can still get to the feature by going up to the Select menu, choosing Same, and then in our case, choosing either Select Color or Select Weight. Both commands are going to work because both the color and the line weight of these yellow lines is unique. So I'll go ahead and choose Select Color. That grabs all 9 of those yellow substrokes. Then I'll go over to the swatches panel because now the stroke has automatically been made active. And I'll click on the rich black swatch in order to apply it. And then I'll go up to my control panel and I'll reduce the line weight value to 4 points like so. And then I'll once again press Control-Shift-A or Command-Shift-A on the Mac in order to deselect the strokes. And again, I know I'm really harping on this, but everything we're seeing is dynamic. So if I this time go ahead and meatball the orange circle in order to select it, and then I'll press the V key to switch back to the black arrow tool because all you can do with the Live Paint Selection tool is select things. You can't move them around, for example. Now I'll drag this orange circle to a different location and everything goes ahead and updates. Because I haven't lost any of my fill colors here, I can drag the circle to a different region of the artwork and have it continue to update. But I had already achieved my final effect, so I'll press Control-Z or Command-Z on the Mac a couple of times in order to undo that move. And that, friends, is how you select and modify both fills and strokes using the Live Paint Selection tool here inside Illustrator.